Kamasi Washington has announced his 5th studio album titled Fearless Movement. It's coming out May 3rd and has appearances from Andre 3000, Thundercat, and so many more in a great overall cast. Based on what Kamasi's already said, what do we know about this album and what can we expect for the sound of this album when we hear it? We're going to break all that down here in this video, as well as Questlove's upcoming book, Hip Hop is History, and James Blake's recent dystopian takes on the state of the music business. What's up, y'all? Devon here again for Obligatory. We do a weekly music news segment on this channel every single Friday. If you love music, tap in with us. Today is March 8th, and at the end of these episodes, always, we have our new releases and editors' picks from this week of new releases, as well as albums coming next week, next month, and for the rest of the year. So we'll get started with Kamasi Washington, who has just announced his 5th studio album with contributions from Andre 3000, Thundercat, D-Smoke, George Clinton, Terrace Martin, and DJ Battlecat, and more. Now, Kamasi has said in interviews that Fearless Movement is a very rhythmic album, and I would say that the new single definitely backs that up. Prologue lives up to that title of Fearless Movement very well, as from the start, it's a zealous performance that moves very elegantly but rapidly, and the primary refrains are truly very, very good. They are kind of what keep me coming back to this song. The music video is also worth a watch, featuring interpretive dance and movement, which Kamasi has also said is a central theme of this project, the way that movement and dance connects people. We've also heard the previously released single, The Garden Path, that will be on this album. He also performed this song on Jimmy Fallon early in 2022. It is a similarly very quick-footed and rhythmic track that builds into a great crescendo. Also, it seems a new sense of mortality is going to manifest in this album in a way that perhaps hasn't for Kamasi, as he spoke on recently, losing a few mentors and friends in recent years since the onset of the pandemic. And during this time, he's also become a father. So on two different ends of an existential spectrum, he's had these big, important changes in his life. I think the biggest difference between this album and any previous Kamasi album will be the length. This is looking to be a pretty lean 80-minute runtime, which he is calling a 2-course meal in comparison to his other 2 to 3 hour long experiences. Also, given the features on this album, I wonder if we won't hear a little bit of a love letter to hip-hop nested somewhere within the themes of these songs as well. Having the legendary DJ Battlecat on this album, or Taj and Raj of Coast Contra, who are the twin sons of West Coast rap legend Razkaz, or even George Clinton of Parliament and Funkadelic being on this album, all of it gives me that kind of a vibe, at least on paper. And then of course we have D-Smoke, we have Andre 3000, though he is playing the flute. We have Terrace Martin. And so I would say, at the very least, we'll hear more explicit shades of hip-hop in this album than maybe any previous solo Kamasi album. All in all, I would say I'm really very excited to hear this thing. And Kamasi was at the top of our list for exciting albums brewing in 2024. That was a video we did early in January. And while nothing is inherently wrong with long albums, I do appreciate that this will be a shorter experience that, for someone like me who wants to recommend it to others, when it comes out, I'm hoping I can recommend it to all of you. Now, on that note, I also feel like I should mention, again, the Shabaka Hutchings album that was announced last week and will be coming out next month. It also bills like an amazing cast of features with Andre 3000 again, Moses Sumney, Elucid of Arm & Hammer, Leanne LaHavas, and so many other really great names. But I want to know what you guys think about the new single from Kamasi. I want to know what you're kind of hoping for in a new album from him. And if you have anything to say, drop it down in the comments and we'll be down there chatting with you as well. On to Questlove of the Roost Bands. He's posting pre-order links for an upcoming book titled Hip Hop is History, co-written by Ben Greenman, who also co-wrote Music is History with Questlove back in 2021. Now, Questlove for a while now has been establishing himself as a really solid author with a variety of books based on food, music, culture. I have one of his books, Creative Quest. This is a great read for anybody who is a creative. And so I feel like this hip-hop history book could be very cool. It seems to aim to trace the creative and cultural forces that made and shaped hip-hop, including the forgotten but really influential moments, alongside some of the most chart-topping moments and hits that really changed the landscape. All of this is going to be weaved together with stories they say no one knows. So we'll see what that explicitly means when the book comes out June 11th. But for you guys, are you big readers? Is this the type of book that you'd be into? Like I said, Quest is a pretty solid writer and has been putting out a lot of good and interesting books in recent years, so I thought this was worth a shout out. I should also mention, based on this, our recent Black History Month videos we posted. One was about Black current indie hardcore artists and bands that we think you guys should know about, and the other is titled Hip Hop Not Dead, about some of our favorite albums from the last 4 years that we think are giving hip-hop a bright future. Now let's talk about James Blake addressing the state of the music business. He posed a very poignant question to fans asking if they want good music or if they just want the music that they've paid for. Blake's first tweets of 2024 are this series of posts where he is lamenting the state of the music business and the dwindling profits that musicians are making strictly off of the music itself. And Blake even went as far as to say that in this age of clout and virality where artists are pursuing it and labels are encouraging artists to pursue it, that his advice to other artists is that if they're lucky enough to go viral, to just use that exposure to generate income in some other way, because basically this music shit ain't it right now. He also says that fans at this point have pretty much completely been brainwashed into expecting music for free, which is true. Most of us don't have to buy any music if we don't want to. Even for someone like me, whose life is music, I don't even have the disposable income to regularly support my friends or my favorite artists a lot of times when they drop. And from there, he also makes the claim that cheaper, faster, and more synthetic music built for the streaming model and built for music today is essentially grooming us for a future where AI-generated music that pays artists nothing is a little bit more widely accepted, is maybe a norm. And then reading all of this, it kind of makes you think like, damn, is it really that bad out here? Yes, I really think it is. I believe a lot of what he hits on with a lot of these posts, and so do a lot of other artists who have either joined the conversation in the comments or the threads or have at least amplified or reposted this. People like Kanye, Tyler, Metro Boomin, Bad Bad Not Good, Blood Orange. All artists who, like James Blake, when I think of them, I think of artists who have achieved a level of cachet and success while also not having to necessarily short their own creativity, compromise their morals, or whatever. Again, someone like James Blake not only having a great discography of his own that has been very successful, but has also written and produced music for the biggest of stars, period. You know, I think the fact that this is coming from him and it's being echoed by these kinds of artists should tell you something. And where do we go from here, and how do we change this? Like, the moral of the story to me is famous and or beloved musician does not mean or equal wealthy or even financially stable musician. And the lack of any sort of representation or union for singers, songwriters, producers, etc. has allowed the streaming era to deal a pretty fatal blow to most artists. Now, those are the big stories of the week. We do have some rapid fire things to get to. One being Sir's new album Heavy now has a track list with features. Dolla, Isaiah Rashad, Anderson.Paak, Absol, and Scribz Riley are going to be on this thing, and this album is coming March 22. And then SZA was on Sesame Street. That's pretty much the news. It was awesome. It was wholesome. It makes you feel good. And then Clairo continues to tease a third album, which may or may not release in 2024. But I missed this a couple weeks ago. She did drop a snippet or a preview of a new song in the weekly radio show that she's been doing. And then Tierra Whack, whose new album Worldwide Whack is coming next week, announced the track list for that album and announced in an interview with Anthony Fantano. Now to our notable new releases and editors' picks for this week of new releases. And the list that you're looking at on screen is not the full slate of new releases. We normally post that on Obligatory's Instagram page. My favorite, of course, this week, it came out a couple days ago, is Mike and Tony Seltzer's Pinball project. It's definitely something new for Mike, and I love that. He's been turning over new leaves with each past project he's put out, and they've all been phenomenal. He keeps doing it. Then we got a pretty short list of albums announced for this week that we were keeping track of, again, headlined by Kamasi Washington. Then we move on to albums releasing next week, and it's going to be an interesting week of album releases, at least. Again, Tierra Whack, Worldwide Whack coming out alongside a new Justin Timberlake album, a new Chuck Strangers album, a new Fortet album, so shit could get weird. So the back half of March, the last couple weeks, is also looking like a ton of albums, from Sir to Adrian Lanker to Shabazz Palaces to freaking Beyonce dropping some shit. And really just a lot of great music we're going to be keeping you updated on all year long. So keep coming back here on Fridays to get your weekly music news, but also kind of keep up with the slate of new releases that are coming out. For my fans of Military Gun, we just went to their concert last night here in Portland. We took some photos. We're going to write about the concert. We also got a chance to see bands like Spiritual Cramp, Pool Kids, Roman Candle, all pretty different bands, but each one of them were really equally pretty great. Again, we drop this video every Friday. Clicking the like button, dropping a comment on this video is still a great and free way to just help us boost through the algorithm. But that's it for me. Again, I'm Devon at 6dev6 for Obligatory, at Obligatory, and we'll be back next week, and we'll see you then, all right? Thanks for watching. Peace out.